So the United States Department of Agriculture, also known as the USDA, has revitalized this initiative for people like you and I to register our gardens, our homegrown gardens within their website. And I just have a couple of questions. Now, this initiative started back in 2009, and it's stated here it's named for the People's Department. Former President Abraham Lincoln's nickname for the United States Department of Agriculture was established during his presidency back in 1862. The People's Gardens grow fresh, healthy food and support resilient local food systems. Teach people how to garden using conservation practices, nurture habitat for pollinators and wildlife, and create green space for neighborhoods. But I pose a different narrative and I have a different perspective, because when has the USDA, the EPA, and the FDA, all the A's, have ever cared about the health and welfare of Americans? Because in a shocking turn of events, the USDA recently launched, kind of revitalized, launched this initiative that have citizens questioning the true intentions behind this, okay? The USDA proposition to register homegrown gardens across America appears to be more than just a harmless endeavor to promote food safety, unrevealing a potential ploy, in my opinion, to monitor and control food sources while exposing the alarming flaws within the EPA and FDA regulations. Now, this is a distressing picture, okay, that has been emerging from this relaunch story or relaunch initiative. And in my opinion, it's revealing a sinister agenda that jeopardizes the health and well-being of the American people. Now, Exhibit A. This is coming over from the almonto.com. It says, why does the USDA want to register your own garden? Have some things here highlighted, how it will control and monitor. And I'm using control. I know that's a biased sort of statement there. Your local food systems. It states here, those who have been following USDA closely for years know that they couldn't care less about your health and nutrition. I cannot agree more. Now, here's a map where you go on to the Department of United States Department of Agriculture and register your homegrown garden. Whether it be a small farm, a small scale farm, it could be a suburban or even urban garden, okay? Because they have all the criteria and how to register and all the information. And if you go up here, what it states here, it says that school gardens, community gardens, urban gardens, and small scale agriculture projects in rural, suburban, and urban areas can be recognized as a people's garden. Now, under the guise of promoting food safety, the USDA's Garden Registry initiative raises eyebrows, especially mine. It requires American citizens to register their homegrown gardens. Why? Why do you want to know about my gardens? Because we know there's been a lot of rhetoric, there's been a lot of information on how Bill Gates owns majority of the farmland here in America. So now, in cahoots with the American government, there are links and ties. You can actually see that once you do your research. I'm gonna move to another segment here, because while the government may argue that this step enables better traceability and identification of potential foodborne illnesses and outbreaks, and it also points out that these can be other sources for healthy foods that people are growing within their own personal gardens. Many speculate that its true purpose goes beyond mere safety precautions. Skeptics argue that this initiative could serve as a convenient tool for the government to track and monitor food sources, potentially infringing upon citizens' privacy and control over their own gardens. You know why? Know what this leads to, family? This leads to eminent domain, which is a solid consequence, because as the USDA dives further into the realm of garden registration, concerned citizens as ourselves fear a hidden consequence because the potential exportation of eminent domain. They can come in and seize your garden. Oh, well, there's a foodborne illnesses with romaine lettuce, and we noticed that when you register on the website, you have romaine lettuce, so now this garden is under the USDA permanent eminent domain because of health precautions throughout America, or whatever they may come up with, right? Because this initiative may pave the way for the government to seize private lands under the guise of ensuring food safety, such as a maneuverable would grant as unprecedented levels of control over private property, raising serious concerns about individual rights and freedoms. Okay? Let me move on here. Now, as it states here, these standards essentially define every community garden in the country. Now, the government organization that shells out billions of dollars every year to companies whose products, like high fructose corn syrup, are responsible for a massive epidemic of obesity across the planet, will have a database on them. You know, and I know that a large percent of Black Americans are obese. Large portions of Black Americans are obese. And I know some of you are gonna be like, well, you know, Black people are big bone and we're bigger people. No. The BMI, the BMI is a scientific chart that, yeah, I always give our people some grace. I kind of give us this sort of 10-pound swing. So if the BMI say that, hey, you're 6 feet, you're supposed to be no larger than or weigh no more than 210 pounds, I kind of give Black Americans 220 pounds. But nonetheless, this is scientifically proven that those people who are overfat, overweight, and obese have more issues than those people who are within their BMI range. It's just a fact. But has the USDA, the EPA, and the FDA, have they banned high fructose corn syrup with all the information that they have, knowing that it is linked to obesity? And guess who it affects the most? It affects Black Americans the most here in America. Yeah, you can go to Alabama, go to Mississippi, down south, up north, east, and west. There's fat white people, there's fat Asian people, but for the small population that we have in America, around 15%, a large percent of Black Americans are obese. And it's not just because all of us are eating fast food. No, we're getting food from grocery stores. And a lot of us don't have the funds. We don't have the money to go to Whole Foods and use your whole paycheck to get everything organic. That doesn't come with the pesticides that EPA should have restricted, okay? And the ingredients that the FDA should have banned. And now the tracking of the natural food sources that you may try to grow in your urban gardens, besides your apartment building, in your backyard, in your home. They're now trying to control and monitor that, allegedly, in my opinion, correct? Let me move on. It says here, again, it's important to point out that the mission statement of the USDA does not involve anything to do with keeping Americans healthy. I agree. In fact, their track record over the years has done the complete opposite. Let's go back to high fructose corn syrup, because this is according to the National Library of Medicine, okay, which is a federal government site. And it states here, obesity has increased dramatically in recent years, a phenomenon widely associated with the so-called Western diet, energy-dense, highly palatable foods with high fat and sugar content. More recently, there has been an interest in the possible contribution of high fructose corn syrup to the rise in obesity. Oh, it's been a contribution. Oh, okay. Usually, wait a minute.
Are you serious right now, bro? Are you serious right now, bro? Are you serious right now, bro? Are you serious right now?
Used widely in nearly all commercial foods. Listen. Used widely in nearly all commercial foods, from bread to beverages, high fructose corn syrup consumption has risen in parallel with increasing body weights and rates of obesity. So when high fructose corn syrup came on the market, started to merge and transform itself inside of our foods. The more foods that high fructose corn syrup has emerged and mended and blended inside, so the parallel increase of obesity in America. It states here why evidence suggests links between increased sugar consumption and the rising prevalence of obesity and metabolic disorder. The contribution of high fructose corn syrup, because of its higher fructose content, has been controversial, with arguments for and against, constituting a specific liability beyond increased sugar consumption generally. What they're basically saying is, we're going to talk around this thing until you get so damn confused that you don't know what's going on. But we already basically told you in parallel, when high fructose corn syrup came on the market, so did increasing body weights and rates of obesity. Because when I look at some of this, one of the major ingredients, okay, that we're not looking at is the metabolic, and I may mess up this name up, the metabolic dysregulated metabolism, okay? Dysregulated metabolism is a common feature on the metabolic diseases, including obesity, diabetes, and cancer, which can be regulated by the mitochondrial dynamics. This is what's in our food. Then I go a little bit further. High fructose corn syrup has crept into more of our foods over the few decades compared with regular sugar. It's cheaper and sweeter because it's a chemical that they made in the lab. So they can make how much they want, when they want, however they want, and they have been putting this in our food since the 1980s. They're no longer using regular sugar. And I'm gonna go even deeper on sugar for a second. But it states here, eating too much high fructose corn syrup can lead to what? Insulin resistance, which causes weight gain, obesity, type 2 diabetes, and high blood pressure. So when I look at these ailments and I look at my Black American family, these are the majority of the issues that we have when it comes to our health. Again, refined sugar and high fructose corn syrup have been implicated in food addiction because their intense sweetness elicits a dopamine rush in the brain that triggers cravings for more. Why do I love potato chips? Because they have high fructose corn syrup in it. Why do I love French fries? Because they have brominated vegetable oil and high fructose corn syrup in some of this stuff. Sugar is almost in every food that you can possibly imagine and think of. That's why we love bread. That's why we love chips. That's why we love pasta. And we keep getting fatter and fatter and fatter. But I must note, this is not solely our fault. This has been an agenda, and this is by design. They already have the information. They already have the scientific research, and it's been proven over and over again. Now, we're talking about the EPA. The EPA has been approving new products with dangerous pesticides, and the states here is committed to phasing out, right? So as I read here, no, as a matter of fact, I'm going to let you guys look at this because I have a bit to say about the EPA. Because beyond the USDA's questionable motives, if we take a closer look at the Environmental Protection Agency, that's what EPA means, family, it reveals a distressing truth, right? Despite its mandate to protect the environment, so much for global warming, and public health, the EPA has allowed the use of harmful pesticides in food production, some of which have been linked to cancer and other serious health issues. Because it's alarming to me, the disregard for consumer safety, it raises doubts about the agency's effectiveness and commitment to safeguarding the well-being of the American population. I left this up there so you guys can take some notes, take some screenshots, and do the research for yourself. Moving to the Food and Drug Administration. Now, they have this sort of area within the FDA, as you state here, called GRAS. And there's a reason why they use GRAS, right? It kind of makes you think about earth, homegrown, natural, healthy, etc. Generally recognized as safe. It's kind of like when I used to cliff jump in Fiji, and someone say, yeah, man, I think it's safe. We've been jumping here all day, and we haven't hit any rocks. Guess what I did? I climbed down the cliff, dove inside of the water, and made sure that for the next 20 feet that there was no rocks present. I don't care if you're telling me that you generally recognize it as safe. It states here under sections 201 and 409 of the Federal Food, Drug, and Cosmetic Act, any substance that is intentionally added to food is a food additive. So if someone intentionally add roaches to the food, is that a food additive? I digress. That is subject to pre-market review and approval by the FDA. Unless the substance is generally recognized among qualified experts as having been adequately shown to be safe under the conditions of its intended use, or unless the use of the substance is otherwise accepted from the definition of a food additive. So basically they're stating, for those who fatten our pockets, we allow you to put anything inside the food so you can make more money. Because when it comes to food safety, family, the FDA plays a pivotal role in the regulations that we have on our food. However, recent revelations that I've been having have exposed major flaws in its regulatory framework. The FDA's leniency towards grocery stores, food chains, and restaurants regarding the use of harmful ingredients in food products is deeply concerning, and it's been for quite a while. I covered this maybe a year or two ago, because chemical additives, preservatives, and artificial substances known to have adverse effects on human health have found their way into the American diet. My diet, your diet, our diet, your family's diet, your kids' diet, leaving consumers like ourselves vulnerable to long-term health risks. Because as the USDA's Garden Registry initiative unfolds, they're going to have you guys register your little backyard farms and things like that, and seize control and monitor and may implement eminent domain when they cause another COVID-19. Because citizens, listen, people across America are raising voices, right? They're expressing their concerns about the true motives behind this seemingly innocent venture. A lot of people think it's innocent. Some people are raising concerns, etc. Because this initiative, if you group that with the EPA's allowance of harmful pesticides and the FDA's flawed regulation, it paints a deserving picture of the state of America's food safety. It does. Because the need for transparency and accountability and genuine efforts to protect public health has never been more urgent. It falls upon as citizens to demand answers, challenge flawed systems, and advocate for a food production and regulatory landscape that prioritize the well-being of Americans. The time for action is now. Because when I look at the food in America and I compare it to one of our compadres, one of the Western world countries that we always look towards when we talk about our allies within the Western world, the UK. Now, here are some ingredients that the UK allows and America allows. And some of these, I'm going to go ahead and let you know, the cat is out of the bag. Those that are in bold red are harmful to your body. They may, and more times than not, contain carcinogens, okay? So canola oil, corn oil, soybean oil, hydrogenated soybean oil, natural beef flavor, sodium acid phosphate, so on and so forth. Because here's the thing, what oil do we use within our home? We use avocado oil, grapeseed oil, and that's pretty much it. Oh, and extra virgin olive oil. Those are the three oils that we use in our home. And you notice none of them are here. All right, these are cheaply made oils that have been synthesized, created in labs, and of course, anything basically coming from the corn, just know they make fuel out of corn. Just, you know, and you cannot digest corn. Just so you guys can get some relevance to what I'm getting at. Now, the one thing I pointed out, they only have one harmful thing in the UK fries is rapeseed. No pun intended. Let me move on. Now, here are some things. I'm going to butcher the names. I may not even say the names. I'm going to have you guys to look at it so you know what to look for when you guys are going out buying food and junk food and treats and snacks for for yourselves and for your kids, okay? Now, dough conditioners, didn't even know that. But look at all the foods here, right? I don't want to, you got Skittles, Snickers, M&M's, Sprite, everything that you will go out and eat at the ball game or out and about at the fair or an amusement park, etc. All these ingredients are harmful to our bodies, family. In my family, we're getting to the point where we're starting to make our own food because that's the way we have to do it. We shop at Whole Paycheck, my apologies, Whole Foods, and we have to buy all these damn ingredients because America does not care, in my opinion, about their citizens when it comes to food. The only thing they care about is the bottom line, and the bottom line is money. The bottom line is profit, okay? Dough conditioners, it says it's found in white breads, rolls, and egg breads, okay? And they also can contain carcinogens, okay? Brominated vegetable oil. This is the worst of all kind, and this is made with all your great French fries, okay? You can go and look at certain videos on social media platforms, and a lot of them will agree that the number one most harmful food in America is French fries. It's French fries. And I'm not saying the French fries that you cut up and you cook with avocado oil at your house and you sprinkle some Himalayan pink salt on it. I'm not talking about those French fries, family. I'm talking about those French fries where you get fresh from McDonald's, allegedly. Those French fries that you get fresh from Wendy's, allegedly. Those French fries you get fresh from Burger King, because the only reason why I'm saying fresh because we like them fresh and hot, do we not? But nonetheless, these are French fries I'm talking about that may or may not contain, okay, I don't want to get sued, brominated vegetable oil, and all other sorts of chemicals. Now, let me read here at the last sentence. It says, and although BVO has been banned in countries like Japan, it's been used in food and beverages in America since the 1970s when it was approved by who? No other than the FDA. Okay? Here's another one. I don't know how to pronounce it. Also banning from cosmetic products. It states here, and in 2015, the EU went further. Not only did they ban it from their food, but they also banned it from cosmetic products like makeup and things of that nature. Now, BHA and BHT, they say are probably man-made antioxidants used in dry mixes, cereals, and dehydrated potato products to preserve them and increase shelf life. Okay, that seems to be good. They're also found in product packaging. These are possible carcinogens and endocrine disruptors, meaning that they can alter the normal function of your hormones. Remember we used to say, man, what's in the water nowadays? These kids are growing large and people are getting bigger earlier in life and younger in life. Now we have some answers, do we not? Because BHA and BHT are banned for use in food and beverages by the United Kingdom, European Union, Japan, and other countries, but not these United States of America. Synthetic food dyes, right? This is in juices and sports drinks and sodas, candy, and glazes used in baked goods and sweets. It says they're even used in silly things like making mustard more yellow, salmon more pink, and jarred pickles the perfect shade of yellow-green. And they don't even get me started on cherries. Okay, I don't know how to say that word. That's why I skipped it, right? That's how we used to do it. But anyway, research has linked consumption of synthetic dyes. What am I thinking about? You think about food or women, right? Babe, don't be listening to this. Synthetic dyes to an increased risk for numerous conditions like tumors and hyperactivity in children. Wow. Now you're wondering why your little rug rat can't sit his ass down. Because you're giving him poison. You're not giving him food. Because I used to think about it, right? We always used to think that the word junk food, man, I'm going to get me some junk food, go get me some Pogie Bake, I'm going to go get me whatever, right? No. It's a reason why I call it junk food. Because it kills you faster than what the other things kill you, okay? GMOs, we don't have to go there, do we? Because GMOs has been around since the 1980s, and they got all sorts of lawsuits. They got all sorts of GMOs out there in all of our products. Even broccoli is a byproduct of GMO. Okay, it was created in the lab. Look it up. Banned ingredients. It says the arsenic-based drug, I'm just gonna call it ROX, was routinely used in chicken in the U.S. until July 2011 when Pfizer decided to stop selling it. However, there is no actual ban on the use of arsenic in the raising of chickens for food. That means that farmers in places where they're actually grazing and raising chickens could be possibly still feeding these chicken this carcinogen, this food that will make you and I sick. I'm going to call this RACT. It says RACT is banned in 122 countries, even Russia, mainland China, Taiwan, and many countries across Europe. This is because it's been linked to reproductive and cardiovascular damage in humans, as well as chromosomal and behavior changes. Banned ingredients number 9, herbicides, insecticides, and fungicides. Do we need to go back to the EPA? Herbicides, insecticides, and fungicides are widely used on crops in the United States food system to keep them free of bugs and diseases. That's good, right? Meanwhile, other countries see the danger they pose to humans, and of the 374 active ingredients authorized for agricultural use in the U.S. in 2016, the European Union banned 72 of them. Banned 72 of them. We haven't banned any. Olestra. It's a cholesterol-free fat substance created by Procter & Gamble. The FDA approved it for use foods in the 1990s and is still used in potato chips, one of my favorite foods, and French fries, also one of my favorite that I have not eaten in such a while. But Olestra may cause extremely unpleasant digestive reactions like diarrhea and leaky bowels. Got that irritable bowel syndrome. Consuming a lot of it can also lead to deficiency in fat-soluble vitamins like vitamin A, D, E, and K, as well as carotenoids. Both Canada and UK have banned the ingredient. So please look at your ingredients. And last but not least, but also important as well, synthetic hormones. Synthetic hormones are widely used in the U.S. dairy industry. The primary reason for this is to increase milk production in dairy cows. Yeah. We're not just giving them feed. Yeah, we're not just feeding them grass. But we're also going to give them hormones as well so we can make more milk faster. And it states here that this particular hormone in humans may cause risk of developing cancer. Additionally, cows treated with the RBGH are more likely to develop mastitis and other infection requiring treatment with antibiotics. Canada, the EU, and other countries have banned these compounds, but not us. Oh no, not America, family. America has yet to ban these. But this story came out in February of this year. It states here that U.S. food additives banned in Europe. As it says, what Americans eat is almost certainly making them sick. Oh, yeah, it's making us sick. It's been making us sick for quite some time. Family, we got to have some discipline. We got to have some resistance, and not just insulin. We got to have some resistance when it comes to our food. We have to read the labels. We have to buy organic, unfortunately, because it's super expensive, and there's only a couple of places where you can get it. And last but not least, we have to cook and create most of our food out of whole food products. And I don't mean going to Whole Foods and buying products, but those whole food products that we can make breads from that are high in fiber, low in carb, that has no sugar. Because your body, believe it or not, does not need sugar. Your body does, you don't go out and need carbs. Oh yeah, we got to get carbs. We got to eat pasta, we got to eat potatoes because that's for your energy. No. Vegetables have carbs. And guess what your body does with the lack of sugar in your system? It creates its own glucose. Did you know that? Look that up. Your body creates its own glucose. So believe it or not, family, you do not need sugar. And I know some of you like your things sweet, just like me. I like sugar in my coffee, sugar in my tea, sugar in my treats, sugar in my desserts. But guess what we're starting to use at our home? We're starting to use stevia, okay? Stevia is probably one of the best sugar, natural substitutes that you can use. Make sure that it's organic and natural. Erythritol, that's one. And guess what? Stevia and erythritol does not have a number on the glycemic index, which is linked to the insulin resistant levels that you'll have in your blood that causes you to retain fat. Okay? So that's very important as well. I want you guys to listen to this quick story.
We're doing this week on how U.S. food regulations have left American consumers exposed to chemicals and additives that have been banned in other countries. CBS's Holly Williams goes in depth to show us how some of these ingredients are linked to cancer and other health-related issues.
From baguettes to focaccia, Europe is famous for its bread, but one ingredient is missing. Potassium bromate is a suspected carcinogen that's banned for human consumption in Europe as well as China and India, but legal in the US, where it's used by some food makers to strengthen dough and estimated to be present in over 100 products.
There is evidence that it may be toxic to human consumers, that it may even either initiate or promote the development of tumours.
Professor Eric Millstone is an expert on food additives and told us European countries take a much more cautious approach to food safety.
Can we say for sure that these differences in regulations mean that people in the US have developed cancers that they would not have developed if they'd been eating only in Europe?
I think that that is almost certainly the conclusion that we could reach.
It's not just potassium bromate, but many other chemicals and substances that are banned here in Europe over health concerns, but considered safe by the FDA.
Do you think most Americans are aware that they're being exposed to substances that are viewed as dangerous over here?
They probably just think, well, if it's available and it's in the store, then it's probably fine.
Stacey McNamara is from upstate New York, but has been living in London for 10 years. She told us raising children on this side of the Atlantic has opened her eyes to what's allowed in food in the US. She has no plans to ever move back home.
And is food safety a part of that decision?
For sure, yeah. How am I going to protect my children when it's just everywhere?
In a statement to CBS News, the FDA said that when used properly, potassium bromate converts to a harmless substance during food production.
Yeah, right.
But at the same time, Nora, it acknowledged that not all potassium bromate may convert, saying control
Absolutely.
measures can...
That part right there, that it may not convert, but we're going to still allow it in your food. This is the state of America and its food system. From the USDA to the EPA, to the FDA. I'm giving fair warning because I love you guys. Read your ingredients. I know that organic and all natural and homegrown and all these things are expensive. But you spend your money on frivolous things that doesn't increase your lifespan. This is the one thing you should be listening, and this is the one thing that you should be following through on.